The medical station floated in the darkness of space like a bright white pearl. It was called Orion 7, and it was the most advanced hospital in the entire galaxy. Ships came here from 1,000 different worlds. Doctors of 50 different species worked here. They had machines that could grow new arms and legs. They had tiny robots that swam through blood and fixed broken hearts. They had lights that could burn away sickness without leaving a single mark. Nothing was impossible here. At least, that was what everyone believed. But tonight, in a small room on the eastern wing, the doctors stood in silence. Their machines beeped and hummed. Their screens showed numbers and colors. Everything looked normal. Everything should have been fine. But the small creature on the bed was dying. His name was Riel. He was a species known across the galaxy for their silver fur and 4 bright eyes, were smart and strong. They lived for hundreds of years. They rarely got sick, and when they did, the doctors at Orion 7 could always fix them. Riel was only 6 years old in Earth time. He was small, even for a cub. His fur was soft and pale, like morning clouds. His 4 eyes were usually the color of warm honey, full of curiosity and mischief. He loved to ask questions. He loved to chase the small cleaning robots around the ship. He loved to hold his mother's hand when she told him stories about the stars. But now Riel did not move. His eyes were closed. His fur had lost its shine. His small chest rose and fell slowly, but each breath seemed weaker than the last. The machines said his body was healthy. His blood was clean. His organs were working. There was no virus, no bacteria, no poison. And yet he was fatting away. His mother sat beside him. Her name was, and she was an important person in the Galactic Council. She spoke to leaders of many worlds. She helped make peace between species who had fought for centuries. She was known for her calm voice and her steady mind. But tonight was not calm. Her hands trembled as she held her son's small paw. Her 4 eyes were red from crying. She had not eaten in 2 days. She had not slept in 3. The lead doctor walked toward her. His name was, and he was a species with hard shells and many legs. He was one of the best doctors in the galaxy. He had saved thousands of lives, but right now his voice was heavy with shame. "Advisor," he said slowly, "we have done everything. We have tried every medicine. We have used every machine. We have called experts from 12 different worlds." Looked up at him, and his antennae drooped. "We cannot find the problem. His body is healthy. Every test says he should be awake and running around. But something is wrong inside him, something our instruments cannot see." "Then look harder," said, her voice cracked. "We have looked everywhere. We have scanned every cell in his body. There is no disease, there is no damage, there is nothing we can treat." Stood up suddenly. "You are telling me that the greatest hospital in the galaxy cannot save one small child?" Was silent. The other doctors looked away. They were brilliant scientists. They had spent their whole lives studying medicine. But this problem was not in their books. This sickness was not in their databases. They had no answer. Turned back to her son. She touched his face gently. It was cold. "My little star," she whispered, "please do not leave me." The room was quiet. Only the machines made sound, beeping their useless information. The doctors waited, not knowing what to say. Then an old memory came too. It was something she had heard years ago when she was a young diplomat on a distant space station. An old ambassador had told her a strange story. The ambassador had been dying. His body was shutting down and no one knew why. The doctors had given up. The Galactic Council doctors had given up. Everyone said he would be dead before morning. But then someone called a human. Humans were a young species. They had only joined the galactic community recently. Their technology was simple. Their medicine was basic. Many aliens thought of them as primitive creatures from a small blue planet at the edge of the galaxy. But the human doctor had come, and she had done something strange. She did not use machines. She did not run tests. She just sat with the ambassador. She talked to him. She held his hand. She asked him questions about his life, his fears, his memories. And somehow, impossibly, the ambassador got better. Had laughed at this story back then. It sounded like a fairy tale. How could talking and holding hands cure a dying person? It made no scientific sense. But now, looking at her son's pale face, was ready to believe in anything. She said quietly, "Yes, advisor. I want you to send a message to Earth." Tilted his head. "Earth, the human planet, why?" "I want you to bring a human doctor here." The other doctors whispered among themselves. Some of them clicked and buzzed in confusion. A human doctor, at Orion 7, it was almost insulting. "Advisor," said carefully, "with great respect, what can a human do that we cannot? Their medicine is centuries behind ours. They still cut open bodies with metal blades. They still use chemical drugs. They have no nanotechnology, no genetic repair systems, no psionic healing." "I know," said. "Then why?" Looked at her son. A tear rolled down her face. "Because you have tried everything you know," she said, "and it did not work. Maybe it is time to try something you do not know." Was quiet for a long moment. He looked at the dying cub on the bed. He looked at the mother who had lost all hope. He thought about his own children, safe at home on his planet. Finally, he nodded. "I will send the message tonight." Sat back down beside Riel. She took his paw in her hands again. It was so small, so fragile. "Hold on, my little star," she whispered. "Help is coming." Somewhere far away, on a small blue planet called Earth, a doctor named Han was finishing her work for the day. She did not know it yet, but her life was about to change forever. A message was traveling through space toward her, carrying a desperate request from a mother she had never met. The greatest hospital in the galaxy had failed. The rain was falling hard in Seoul. It was late at night, and the streets were almost empty. The lights of the city reflected on the wet ground like scattered stars. Han walked out of the hospital with tired feet. She had been working for 16 hours, 3 surgeries, 7 consultations, one very long meeting about budget cuts. Her back hurt. Her eyes burned. All she wanted was to go home, drink some warm tea and sleep. Was 42 years old. She had short black hair with a few strands of gray. Her face was kind but serious. She wore simple clothes under her white coat, and her shoes were old and comfortable. She was not the type of person who cared about looking fancy. She was a pediatric doctor, which meant she took care of sick children. She had been doing this job for 15 years, and she was very good at it. Other doctors called her stubborn. They said she never gave up, even when a case seemed hopeless. Some of them meant it as a compliment. Others meant it as a criticism. Did not care what they thought. She only cared about her patients. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out and looked at the screen. It was a message from the hospital director. "Come to my office immediately. Urgent matter." Sighed, she was so tired. Could it not wait until tomorrow? But she knew Director Park. He never used the word urgent unless he really meant it. So she turned around and walked back into the hospital. When she reached the director's office, she found him standing by the window. He was a tall man with gray hair and a serious face. Next to him stood 2 other people. One was a young Korean man in a strange uniform. He looked nervous. The other was not human at all. It was a tall creature with blue skin and large black eyes. It wore a silver robe and stood very still, like a statue. Stopped at the door. She had seen aliens on television, of course. Everyone had, ever since the first contact 5 years ago, but she had never seen one in person. Her heart beat faster. "Dr. Han," Director Park said, "please come in and close the door." Stepped inside. The blue alien turned to look at her. Its eyes were gentle, she realized, not scary at all. "This is representative from the Galactic Council," Director Park said. "And this is a human liaison officer." The young man bowed politely. Dr. Han, thank you for coming. What is this about? Asked. Stepped forward. When it spoke, its voice was soft and musical, like wind through leaves. Dr. Han, your reputation is known to us. You have saved many children that others could not save. You do not give up. You find answers where others see only questions. Did not know what to say. Thank you. We need your help, continued. There is a child dying on our medical station. He is 6 years old. Our best doctors have tried everything, but they cannot save him. They do not even understand what is wrong. I am sorry to hear that, said carefully. But I am just a regular doctor. I do not know anything about alien medicine. How could I possibly help? Spoke up. That is exactly why they want you, doctor. Their medicine is very advanced. They can fix almost anything. But this case is different. The child's body is healthy. All the tests are normal. Yet he is dying. They think maybe the problem is something their science cannot measure. Frowned, something their science cannot measure. What does that mean? We do not know, admitted. But we have heard stories about human doctors. Stories about healing that does not come from machines. We are desperate, Dr. Han. We are willing to try anything. Was quiet for a moment. She looked at the rain falling outside the window. She thought about her warm bed at home. She thought about her patients here in Seoul who needed her. But she also thought about a child dying alone in space. A child whose mother was probably crying by his bed, just like the mothers saw every day in her hospital. How would I even get there? She asked. We have a ship waiting, said. It can take us to Orion 7 in about 14 hours. The Council will provide everything you need. And if I cannot help, if I go all that way and the child still dies? His large eyes seemed to grow sad. Then at least we will know we tried everything. His mother asked for a human doctor specifically. She believes you can help. Please, Dr. Han, will you come? Closed her eyes. She was so tired. This was crazy. She did not know anything about alien children. She did not know anything about space travel. She had never even been on an airplane for more than 3 hours. But a child was dying. And Han had never been able to say no to a dying child. Fine, she said, I will go. 3 hours later, sat inside a spacecraft. It was smaller than she expected, about the size of a bus. The seats were comfortable. The walls were smooth and white. There were no windows, but a large screen showed the view outside. She watched as Earth grew smaller and smaller behind them. The blue oceans, the green lands, the white clouds. Her home, her world. Soon it was just a tiny dot in the endless black. Felt her chest tighten. She was really doing this. She was really flying through space to save an alien child. Sat across from her. He had been quiet for most of the trip, but now he spoke. Are you afraid? Thought about it? Yes, she admitted. But that is normal. Fear keeps us careful. Nodded. I was scared too the first time I left Earth, but you get used to it. How long have you been doing this, working with aliens? About 5 years, since first contact. I was a translator before for the government. When the aliens came, they needed people who could learn new languages quickly. I was good at that, so they recruited me. And now you help humans and aliens talk to each other. Something like that. Mostly I explain things. Human culture to aliens. Alien culture to humans. It is not easy. We are very different in some ways. Leaned back in her seat. Tell me about this child, the one who is sick. Pulled out a small device and pressed a button. A hologram appeared in the air between them. It showed a small creature with silver fur and 4 eyes. His name is Riel. They are a very old species, very advanced. They rarely get sick. But 2 weeks ago, Riel and his mother were attacked by space raiders. Their ship was damaged. Several crew members died. Riel saw everything. Leaned forward. He saw people die. Yes, since then he has been getting worse. At first he just stopped talking. Then he stopped eating. Then he stopped moving. Now he barely breathes. The doctors say his body is fine, but he is shutting down anyway. Was quiet for a long moment. A terrible idea was forming in her mind. A familiar idea. She said slowly, "Do they understand what trauma is?" Blinked. Trauma. Yes, emotional trauma. When something so terrible happens that a person's mind cannot handle it. When the fear is so strong that it starts to hurt the body. Thought about it? I do not think so. They changed their own genes a long time ago. They removed strong emotions. They do not feel fear or sadness the way we do. They probably never needed to understand trauma. Nodded slowly. Now she understood. The alien doctors had looked at the child's body. They had tested his blood and his bones and his brain, but they had never thought to look at his heart. Not the organ, the feeling. I think I know what is wrong, she said quietly. Stared at her. Already, you have not even seen him yet. I could be wrong, admitted, but I have seen this before, many times. Children who saw terrible things. Children whose bodies just gave up because their minds were too hurt to keep going. She looked at the hologram of the small alien boy. His eyes were closed, his fur was dull, he looked so small, so alone. The machines cannot fix this, she said. No medicine can fix this, but maybe I can. The ship flew on through the darkness. Ahead of them, the medical station Orion 7 waited like a distant lighthouse. The medical station Orion 7 was larger than any building had ever seen. It hung in space like a giant white flower, with long wings stretching out in every direction. Lights blinked along its surface. Small ships flew around it like busy insects. Pressed her face against the screen as they approached. Her heart was beating fast. This was real. She was really here, far from Earth, far from everything she knew. The ship docked with a soft bump. A door opened and cold air rushed in. Stood up and offered his hand. Ready. She took a deep breath. No, but let us go anyway. They stepped out into a long white hallway. The floor was smooth and shiny. The walls curved gently. Strange lights floated in the air, following them as they walked. Everywhere looked, she saw aliens, tall ones and short ones, creatures with scales and creatures with feathers, beings made of light and beings made of stone. Some walked on 2 legs, some walked on many legs, some floated. They all stopped to stare at her. Kept her eyes forward and kept walking. She could feel their curiosity, their doubt. She was just a human. What could she possibly do that their great doctors could not? Led her through a maze of hallways until they reached a large door. It slid open with a soft hiss. Inside was the medical room. It was bright and clean, filled with machines that did not recognize. Floating screens showed numbers and shapes that meant nothing to her. Robot arms hung from the ceiling, waiting to move. And in the center of the room, on a white bed, lay a small silver creature. Riel. He was smaller than expected. His fur was pale and thin. His 4 eyes were closed. His chest barely moved. Tubes connected him to various machines, but they did not seem to be helping. Beside him sat his mother. She was taller than her son, with darker silver fur and tired eyes. When she saw enter, she stood up quickly. You are the human doctor. Nodded. I am Han. Walked toward her. For a moment was not sure what to expect, then did something surprising. She bowed deeply, a gesture she must have learned from studying human culture. Thank you for coming. Thank you for giving us hope. Felt a lump in her throat. She saw the fear in his eyes, the love, the desperation. It was the same look she had seen on 1,000 human mothers. I will do everything I can, said. The lead doctor stepped forward. He was tall and insect-like with a hard shell and many legs. His voice was sharp and clicky. Dr. Han, I must be honest with you. Many of my colleagues do not believe you can help. Human medicine is very primitive compared to ours. We have already tried everything. Looked at him calmly. Have you tried sitting with him? Tilted his head. What do you mean? Have you tried talking to him? holding his hand, telling him he is safe. His antennae twitched. Those are not medical procedures. No, agreed, they are not. She walked past him toward the bed. The other doctors moved aside, watching her with curious eyes, ignored them all. She sat down on a small chair beside Riel. For a long moment she just looked at him. She studied his face, his body, the way he breathed. She noticed things the machines might not notice, the slight tension in his shoulders, the way his ears pressed flat against his head, the tiny movements of his closed eyes. Then she did something none of the alien doctors had done. She reached out and took his paw in her hand. It was cold and soft, covered with fine fur. 5 small fingers wrapped loosely around nothing, held it gently like she would hold a sleeping baby's hand. "Hello, little one," she said softly. "My name is, I came a long way to meet you." The room was completely silent. The doctors stared. His mandibles hung open in confusion. Even the machines seemed to pause. Continued speaking, her voice low and gentle. "I know you are scared. I know something terrible happened to you, but you are safe now. No one is going to hurt you here. Your mother is right beside you. I am here too. You are not alone." Riel did not respond. His eyes stayed closed. His breathing stayed slow. But noticed something. The tension in his shoulders seemed just a little bit less. His ears moved slightly, pointing toward the sound of her voice. He could hear her. "Turn 2, tell me what happened, tell me everything." Sat down heavily. Her voice was rough with exhaustion. "We were traveling home from a diplomatic meeting. Our ship was attacked by raiders. They wanted to capture me, to demand payment from the council, but our guards fought back." She paused, her 4 eyes filling with tears. "Riel was supposed to be in his room, but he came out. He wanted to find me. He saw the fighting. He saw people die. One of our guards fell right in front of him." Nodded slowly, "And after that?" "At first he seemed fine. He did not talk about it. I thought maybe he did not understand what had happened. But then he started having trouble sleeping. He would wake up screaming. He stopped eating. He stopped playing. And then a few days ago he just stopped everything." Interrupted. "We have scanned his brain many times. There is no damage. His neural pathways are functioning normally." Did not look at him. She kept her eyes on Riel. "The damage is not in his brain," she said. "It is in his spirit." "His spirit," sounded confused. "That is not a medical term." Finally turned to face him. "On Earth, we call this condition trauma. It happens when a person experiences something so frightening, so overwhelming that their mind cannot process it. The fear becomes trapped inside them. And sometimes, if the trauma is severe enough, the body starts to shut down. Not because of any disease, but because the mind has given up." She looked around the room at all the alien doctors. "Your machines can see his body, but they cannot see his fear. They cannot see his pain. They cannot see the memories that are killing him from the inside." Made a small sound like a wounded animal. "How do we fix it? How do we make him better?" Was quiet for a moment. This was the hard part, the part that the alien doctors would not understand. "There is no quick fix," she said. "No medicine I can give him. No surgery I can perform. Healing from trauma takes time, it takes patience, it takes love." "Then what do we do?" asked desperately. Looked back at the small creature on the bed. So small, so lost, so alone in his own darkness. "He needs to feel safe," she said. "Truly safe. Not just protected by guards and machines. He needs to feel it in his heart. He needs someone to stay with him, to hold him, to remind him that the danger is over and he does not have to be afraid anymore." Made a dismissive sound. "That is not medicine, that is just comfort." Smiled sadly. "Yes, that is exactly what it is." She turned to. "I know are not very physical. I know your culture does not emphasize touch or emotion. But your son needs these things right now. He needs them more than any medicine in this station." Looked at her son. Her 4 eyes were full of pain. "I do not know how," she whispered. "We are not taught these things. I love him more than anything, but I do not know how to show it the way you describe." Nodded, she understood. These aliens had evolved differently. They had changed their own nature to remove what they saw as weakness, but they had removed something precious too. "Then let me show you," she said. "Let me stay with him, let me try to reach him, and maybe together we can bring him back." Looked at this strange human woman. She was so small, so plain, so ordinary. She had no advanced technology, no special powers. She just had gentle hands and kind eyes. But for the first time in days, felt something she had almost forgotten. "Hope. Please," she said, "do whatever you must, just save my son." Turned back to Riel. She squeezed his small paw gently. The first day was the hardest. Sat beside Riel from morning until night. She held his paw. She talked to him about everything and nothing. She told him about Earth, about the blue oceans and the green forests. She told him about the birds that sang outside her window every morning. She told him about her favorite food, a simple rice soup that her grandmother used to make. Riel did not respond. His eyes stayed closed. His body stayed still. The machines beeped their endless rhythm, showing numbers that meant nothing to the alien doctors who watched from across the room. Came in every few hours to check on the situation. Each time, he looked at with confusion and doubt. "You are just talking," he said. "That is not treatment." "It is the only treatment he needs right now," replied calmly. "But his vital signs are not improving. He is still fatting. Healing takes time. You cannot rush it." Clicked his mandibles in frustration, but stopped him before he could argue. "Let her try," the mother said quietly. "Please, just let her try." The doctor fell silent. He walked away shaking his head, but he did not stop. That night, when most of the doctors had gone, did something else. She started to sing. It was an old Korean lullaby, one her grandmother had sung to her when she was small. The words were simple and soft. The melody was gentle, like a stream flowing over smooth stones. Was standing by the door. He had been watching quietly all day. When he heard the song, his eyes grew wet. "I have not heard that song in years," he said. "My mother used to sing it to me." Smiled without stopping. She kept singing, her voice filling the quiet room. And something changed. It was small, so small that the machines did not notice, but saw it. Riel's fingers, which had been limp and loose, twitched slightly. They curled just a little bit, as if trying to hold on to something. His heart jumped. She leaned closer. "That is right, little one," she whispered. "I am here, keep holding on." The second day was a little better. Brought some things from the ship. A soft blanket from Earth. A small stuffed animal in the shape of a bear. A picture of a sunrise over the mountains of Korea. She wrapped the blanket around Riel gently. She placed the stuffed bear under his arm. She propped the picture where he would see it if he opened his eyes. "These are things from my world," she told him. "They remind me of home. Maybe they can remind you that there are beautiful things in the universe, not just scary things, beautiful things too." Watched all of this with wonder. She had never seen anyone care for a patient this way. In culture, medicine was about technology and efficiency. Doctors did not sit with patients. They did not hold hands or sing songs. They fixed the problem and moved on. But this human doctor did not seem to care about efficiency. She cared about connection. "Why do you do this?" asked. "Why do you spend so much time just being with him? You could be resting, you could be eating, you have been here for hours." Looked up at her. Because that is what healing is. It is not just about fixing the body. It is about fixing the soul, and souls cannot be fixed with machines. They can only be fixed with love. "Love," repeated. The word felt strange on her tongue. Did not talk about love. They talked about duty, about responsibility, about logic. "Yes," said. "Your son saw terrible things. He saw death and violence and fear. Now his mind is trapped in that moment. He cannot escape. He keeps reliving it over and over even while he sleeps. How do we help him escape? We give him something stronger than the fear. We give him warmth. We give him safety. We give him the feeling that someone is there, someone who will protect him no matter what. Eventually, his mind will start to believe that the danger is over, and then slowly he will come back to us. Sat down beside. For a long moment she just watched her son. Then, hesitantly, she reached out and touched his other paw. "Is this right?" she asked. "Am I doing it correctly?" Smiled. "There is no wrong way, just be with him. Let him feel that you are here." Nodded. She held her son's paw, and for the first time in a long time she did not try to solve the problem. She just sat. She just waited. She just loved. The third day brought change. Had been singing again, a different song this time. It was a simple melody about a child who got lost in a forest but found her way home by following the stars. When she finished, she felt something. Riel's fingers were not just twitching anymore. They were gripping. They were holding her hand. Froze. She looked down and saw his small paw wrapped around her fingers, squeezing gently. She said quietly, "Look." The mother looked. Her 4 eyes went wide. "Riel," she whispered. "Riel, can you hear me?" For a long moment nothing happened. The room was silent. The machines beeped. The lights hummed. Then slowly, Riel's eyes opened. They were still dull, still tired, but they were open. He looked up at the ceiling first, blinking in the bright light. Then his gaze moved to the side. He saw the stuffed bear. He saw the picture of the sunrise. And then he saw his mother. "Mother," his voice was barely a whisper, weak and rough, like dry leaves in the wind. Made a sound that was half cry, half laugh. She grabbed his paw with both hands. "Yes, my little star, I am here. I am right here." Riel's 4 eyes filled with tears. He started to shake. His small body trembled as everything he had been holding inside finally started to come out. "I was scared," he said. "I was so scared. There was fire and noise and people were falling down and I could not find you and I thought you were gone and I thought I was going to die and I did not know what to do and—" The words poured out of him like water breaking through a dam. All the fear, all the pain, all the memories he had been trying to bury. They came flooding out in a rush of tears and trembling. Did not know what to do. She looked at with panic in her eyes. "This is good," said gently. "Let him cry, let him talk. He needs to let it out, just hold him and do not let go." Hesitated. Physical affection was not natural for, but her son was crying. Her son was hurting, and the human doctor was right. Leaned forward and wrapped her arms around Riel. It was awkward and strange. She was not sure if she was doing it correctly, but she held him anyway. Riel clung to her. He buried his face in her fur. He cried and cried, his small body shaking with sobs. Stepped back to give them space. She watched the mother and son hold each other, and she felt tears running down her own face. Was beside her. His eyes were wet too. "How did you know?" he asked. "How did you know this would work?" Wiped her cheeks. "Because I have seen it before, many times. Children are strong, but they are not invincible. When something terrible happens, they need someone to help them through it. They need to know they are not alone." The machines could not see any of this. No, machines see bodies. They do not see hearts. In the center of the room, Riel was still crying, but his grip on his mother was strong. His eyes were open. His voice was returning. He was coming back. The alien doctors gathered at the door, watching in amazement. They did not understand what was happening. They did not have words for it, but they could see the results. The human method was working. 1 week later, the medical station was buzzing with news. The story had spread across the galaxy like fire through dry grass. A human doctor had done what the greatest medical minds could not. She had saved a dying child without surgery, without medicine, without any technology at all. She had done it with only her hands, her voice, and her heart. Some aliens refused to believe it. They said it was a lie, a trick, a misunderstanding. There must have been some hidden treatment, some secret technology that the humans were not sharing. But those who had been there knew the truth. Riel was sitting up in his bed now. His fur had regained its silver shine. His 4 eyes were bright amber again, full of curiosity and life. He was eating. He was talking. He was even laughing. Sat with him every day. She taught him simple games from Earth. She showed him pictures of animals he had never seen before. Dogs, cats, elephants, whales. He was fascinated by all of them. "Do humans really keep these creatures in their homes?" he asked, pointing at a picture of a golden dog. "Some of them," said with a smile. "Dogs and cats mostly. They are our friends." "Friends?" "Yes, companions. Beings we love and who love us back." Riel thought about this. "I think I understand, like how my mother loves me." Exactly like that. Watched these conversations from across the room. She had changed too during this week. She smiled more now. She touched her son more often, holding his paw, stroking his fur. It still felt awkward sometimes, but she was learning. "You taught me something," she said to one afternoon. "Something my people forgot long ago." "What is that?" "How to be close. How to show love, not just feel it. We thought we were making ourselves stronger by removing our emotions, but we were making ourselves weaker." Shook her head gently. "You were not weak, you just forgot. Everyone forgets sometimes. The important thing is remembering." The day came when had to leave. Her hospital in Seoul needed her. There were other children waiting, other patients who needed her help. When she announced her departure, Riel's eyes filled with tears. "Do you have to go?" he asked. Knelt down beside his bed. She took his small paws in her hands. "Yes, little one. I have to go back to my world. There are other children there who need me, just like you needed me. But what if I get scared again?" Smiled. She reached into her bag and pulled out the small stuffed bear she had brought from Earth. "Keep this," she said. "His name is, he was mine when I was a child. Whenever I was scared, I would hold him and feel better. Now he can do the same for you." Riel took the bear carefully. He held it against his chest. He repeated, "I will take care of him. And he will take care of you." Stepped forward. Her 4 eyes were wet. "Dr. Han, I do not have words to thank you. You saved my son. You gave him back to me." "I did not save him alone," said. "You saved him too. Your love saved him. I just reminded you both that it was there." She stood up and looked around the room one last time. The machines were still humming. The lights were still floating. Everything looked the same as when she had arrived. But everything had changed. Was waiting by the door. The doctor had been watching closely all week. His attitude had shifted from doubt to confusion to something that looked almost like respect. "Dr. Han," he said, "before you go, I must ask you something." "Yes." "How did you know? How did you know that talking and holding hands would work? We have studied medicine for thousands of years. We have knowledge that your species will not discover for centuries, yet we could not see what you saw. How?" Thought carefully before answering. "Because we are different," she said. "Humans have not evolved past our emotions. We still feel fear and sadness and love in very strong ways. Sometimes this causes us problems, but it also helps us understand when others are feeling these things." She paused. "Your science is amazing. You can do things with the body that we can only dream of, but you forgot about the other half of healing, the half that does not show up on machines, the half that happens in the heart." Was silent for a long moment. "We thought emotions were weakness," he finally said. "We thought removing them made us better. Maybe it made you stronger in some ways, but it also made you blind to certain things. Neither way is better or worse. They are just different." Nodded slowly. His antennae drooped in a way that looked almost sad. I have been a doctor for 80 years. I thought I knew everything, but today I learned that I knew very little. That is how all doctors feel, said with a small smile. No matter how much we learn, there is always more. That is what makes our work interesting. She bowed slightly to him. Take care of Riel, and take care of his mother. They still have healing to do, but they will be fine. Was waiting for her in the hallway. He carried her small bag over his shoulder. Ready to go home? He asked. Took one last look at the medical room. Through the open door, she could see Riel sitting up in bed, hugging the stuffed bear, talking excitedly to his mother about something. Yes, she said, I am ready. They walked together toward the docking bay. Aliens of all kinds stepped aside to let them pass. Some of them bowed, some of them whispered. Word had spread about what the human doctor had done. You are famous now, said. The whole galaxy is talking about you. I did not do anything special, said. I just did what any good doctor would do. No, you did something that none of their good doctors could do. That is special. Did not answer. She was too tired to argue. They boarded the small ship that would take them home. The door closed behind them. The engines hummed to life. Through the screen, watched the medical station grow smaller and smaller until it was just a point of light among millions of others. She leaned back in her seat and closed her eyes. Yes. Do you think they will change? The aliens, I mean. Do you think they will learn from this? Thought about it? Maybe, maybe not. Change is hard, especially for species that have lived a certain way for thousands of years. But I think some of them will remember what you showed them. And maybe, little by little, they will start to remember the things they forgot. Nodded, I hope so. The ship flew on through the darkness. Stars streamed past like glowing rivers. Somewhere behind them, a small alien boy was holding a stuffed bear and learning that it was okay to cry. A mother was learning to hold her child close. A doctor was learning that medicine was about more than machines. And somewhere ahead, a blue planet called Earth was waiting. Slept most of the way home. She dreamed of her grandmother singing old songs. She dreamed of warm soup and rainy nights. She dreamed of all the children she had helped over the years, all the frightened eyes that had become brave eyes, all the pale faces that had found color again. When she woke, Earth was filling the screen, blue and green and white, spinning slowly in the black. Home, she whispered. Smiled, home. The ship descended through the clouds. The city of Seoul appeared below them, bright with lights. Soon would be back in her hospital, back with her patients, back to her simple, ordinary life. But she knew now that her life would never be quite ordinary again. She had traveled across the galaxy. She had saved a child that the greatest doctors could not save. She had shown the universe that sometimes the most powerful medicine was not found in machines or drugs. It was found in a gentle touch, a kind word, a warm presence. It was found in simply being there. The ship landed softly. The door opened, stepped out into the cool Seoul night. The rain was falling gently, just like it had been when she left. The hospital stood nearby, its lights glowing through the mist. She took a deep breath of earth air. It smelled like rain and trees and home. Thank you for coming with me, she said too. Thank you for showing me something I will never forget, he replied. They bowed to each other, then walked toward the hospital, her worn shoes splashing in the puddles, her heart full of quiet peace. Behind her, the stars twinkled in the gaps between the clouds. Billions of worlds, countless species, endless technology and knowledge and power. And yet, in the end, the greatest medicine in the universe was something anyone could give. The simple gift of not letting someone be alone. And somewhere deep in their ancient, logical minds, they began to wonder if maybe they had lost something important along the way. Something that all their technology could not replace. Something simply, beautifully human. Do not worry, little one, she whispered. I am not going anywhere. The real work was about to begin. And inside that station, a mother held her dying son's hand and prayed to whatever gods she knew. Help was coming, but would it arrive in time? Now, everything depended on a single human.